Mike Callahan here, back again with Callahan's Corner, where you ask and I answer, or the Simple Grow team answers your questions regarding lawn care, home cleaning, business workflow and processes, and sometimes in-service autopilot or different CRM systems that we're using inside Simple Growth. So once again, welcome back to Callahan's Corner. One of the submitted questions was specifically around New York State fertilization and pesticide contracts, whether they're for an estimate or renewal. So what I'm going to do, first of all, as a disclaimer, please check with your local DEC agency. These laws are constantly changing, as we all know. But on a high level, I want to go in and show you how to build this out in Service Autopilot and potentially use this as a renewal tool as well, because there's some key elements that for sure are needed on these processes to go out and do this. So traditionally, what we're going to find here, I'm going to suck down the screen, but basically, if you're watching live or recorded, submit your questions on this video or future questions you'd like to answer, because we're going live every day here on Callahan's Corner, asking your questions regarding business workflow and process and how to use Service Autopilot. So as we're going in here, I'm going to suck down the screen and show you potentially what a rough draft of a contract in New York State pesticide would look like, and then how to convert something like this into a contract. So even if you're not in New York State, a lot of this will be applicable for your fertilization weed control. So kind of a targeted video here, but like I said, you ask the questions, we bring you the answers. So main top certain things here that we need is the certified application applicator's number. So we're going to need to be able to get that. We're going to want to list all of the rounds and what's included in them as far as the actual service with a start and stop date range. Now, the law continues to change about the open window here. It's been approximately about a month. Last time I checked before we go into this new season here. We can also put in rain dates or backup dates as well here. I also have a cool idea here in another video how to actually do your pre-notifications for neighbor notification in New York State and actually automate them. But for this video, I'm going to show you how to build out this contract. So next thing we're doing is we're listing them out. We're giving our ranges. And this is the hard copy part. You may be doing some upsells for aeration and overseeding or core aeration. Acceptance, we need the authorized signature and enclosed signature, and we need the business owner's signature here. We're going to list out the services, products, service calls. We want to get an area that's linked legally as of 2019. We can link back to a website for the product label notification. That's another key part there. Continuing service, we're going to talk about how this contract continues year after year and certain time span that's applicable, payment terms, and the rest of information here. So that's kind of a hard copy area to Google Doc that I framed out that most people are using. So I want to give you at least a proof of concept there before we dive into Service Autopilot. So what we're going to be doing is going into Service Autopilot. First thing we want to do is go in and go under Documents. And obviously you want to create a new document, but the document type here is going to be an estimate. And when I hit apply, we're going to go in, and I've already made one of these estimate documents here just for the sake of time. This is the Fertilization New York State. Like I said, definitely check with your DEC office before we get into this to confirm the laws haven't changed. Last time we got audited, it seems to be a moving target. So thank God we were within the confines within a few dollars, but it is a moving target. So don't take this as golden perfect state law registration for 2020. Double check with your local DEC office, but this will get you going. Document settings here, we want to link it to our estimate email. So we want to have a specific email that sends out the estimate with a clickable link. That's the document we're linking here. And we have an estimate confirmation email here. This links to another email that would automatically trigger when they accept it. So we've let the consumer know that we've acknowledged they've accepted the estimate or contract. And then we can turn the PDF version of it printable on and off as well. I recommend leaving it on. So then we would go into edit. And once this loads, I'm going to show you how to basically take the hard copy parts that most people are doing pen and paper manually and get it into SA. So when we're in here, we want to go in, obviously want to throw in our logo. Next thing we're looking at here is the certified applicator number. So we put that in. That's going to meet the state requirement of your applicator's number. So you want to make sure you have all your commercial numbers up there for there, or at least the managers. Once again, check with state law what they're requiring for each year and up each coming year. We've done is included 2 boxes: select one of the services you want and select and sign. This area right here we dragged in, and it's called dynamic content. Every time we're in this document, we really want to delete this document. For some reason, the grid, it's also called a grid, an estimate grid. On this screen, it's called dynamic content. We want to drag that in when we're done editing, because that always link always breaks usually. So we want to scroll down and grab the fertilization test grid that I've made. So that's going to display the pricing in a certain way that I want. Now we've got some verbiage in here. We've taken the lawn care program details with the start and stop ranges in there. So that is, we've transferred those all in. And they have the EPA numbers of the products. That's important as well. So those, depending on your state law, that's going to be something that's going to be basically required. So we've got that all in there. So we're good there. And then the next area here is we've covered our invoicing details, general contract terms, and services. So we're outlining the services and the products. This is some verbiage that we were able to use from the state here. So we've got that in there. And then we've got service calls, what's expected. So we set the expectation, whether it's a free or charged service card to call, depending on the service. Continuing service, how the contract renewal needs to be signed to return to us. And then we put our guarantee in here. And products used. We talked about the labels and how we're going to provide them annually. That's part of the information. Pre-notification. So we've talked about that. And then payment terms. Then we said if you agree, you've received the labels here. So we're acknowledging that they have received the electronic version of the labels. Also extremely important. What we've done is gone into rows and dragged over a 4-block chunk here over in there. And then once we did that, we went to buttons and dragged them in and labeled them. So when you go to product MSD labels, part of the state notification, we've got right here, you can select open a web page on the right-hand side, and I've put in the link type. So the link now goes to the website and gives them the MSD labels and the product labels that is required for the contractual part of the law. Then we've gone in here and put the code in for the signature. So we go in here and go to merge tags and Control F for signature. And as we scroll down, we've got a signature line. We'd click that, and that would add that line of code in there to be able to capture that electronic signature, which is required by law. The electronic signature is accepted from the last time I've checked with the DEC. So this is going to be on a high level, most of the things that you really need to have happen there. So next thing we're going to do is go in and hit save. I'm going to leave it as is here just to, well, actually I will save it and close it out. So now the workflow, once you have that, is you're going to go in and enter in your client or lead, and we're going out to estimate. So I'm going to recommend using the More tab in the upper right-hand corner under property measurements. We made a previous video about taking property measurements and saving them. So if you missed that video, what we would do is go in and label the area and drag the pins around here. So I'll actually delete this one so you can see the proof of concept, but this is going to save an extra step. So every time we go in to Maps Pro, we want to be able to do this because this is going to allow us to just be able to set it and forget it. So I'm going to label it turf area. We go in, grab this green area and choose it, and go in and click around the turf area. So obviously in the live video, for time's sake, I'm not going to do it with much detail, but within a couple hundred feet, you're going to be in the ballpark. I would not worry about dropping a million pins here because it's pretty close, especially if you're billing per 1,000. So we've got 9,200 square feet, and I'm going to save that. Now, every time we pull it up, just like we did in the example, it loads automatically. Now, you're going to notice these plus and minus signs. So I've got the plowing area. I'm going to click that to a 0. And then we've got a fictitious pool in here. So I'm going to go in and subtract that from the area. And now I've got a turf area of 8529 in that area right there on the left. I'm going down to custom fields here, and I'm scrolling down. You'd probably never have this many, but this test account obviously has a few. we're grabbing turf square footage and saving it. This little button pops up, custom field save. So whether it's an existing client, you already have it on file, you don't need this, but when you pull it up, you can visually see the service area. Or if it's a new lead coming in, you're estimating fertilization and weed control. So the next step is we're going to scroll down and hit add an estimate. If it's a lead, they haven't become a client yet, visually service autopilot's going to have a long gray bar that says estimate. If it's a client, it has these 3 distinct columns. It's a great visual clue to start training your team. And I like to call them the 5 or 6 screens of success. Once SA is completely set up the right way, we can drive through 5 or 6 screens of success to standardize the training and workflow process from lead acquisition through fulfillment. Now, next thing is we're going in and hitting templates here, and we're selecting renewal template. We've already built this template, and the template has been linked to the estimate document or the contract document, either one, whatever you call it, the one we just built, so it loads in automatically. That estimate document's that New York State fertilization document. Now, once we have that, based on the 8,500 square feet, it's calculated a price, a budgeted time, and cost, products and materials. Very important to remember here, because when you go to Service Autopilot and you get your chemical tracking set up with one of their head trainers like Joe or Scott Howard, they're going to advise you with chemical tracking, which is going to track your New York State pesticide chemical tracking that's required. We can run reports and drive it out of Service Autopilot under the new report center. So quick reminder, if you're watching this video live or this month, February 1st is your New York State pesticide deadline for reporting. And you can run those reports automatically right out of Service Autopilot. So huge, huge time savers. This is why this is important that we get this set up foundationally from the ground up. But the idea is, remember when you build these services out, product and materials. So your cost for labor, break even, and your product break even. Chemical tracking is going to track the quantity of materials being used for your reporting. So comments and questions drop below in the live recorded version. On a high level, these are the things we're driving. So now we'd go in and hit draft a quote. So we've got all our applications plus our grub control. So if we didn't want to quote grub control, we can click grub the checkbox and not quote it. I'll leave that there, but you notice the grub control as a point or a proof of concept has a higher price and a different budgeted time. Now, grub control in our market traditionally is the same exact application, or actually part of another application. It's a 2-for-1 kind of deal. Like it goes down with the existing product, but we can build twice. But as an idea, if you did have a product that had a higher cost and a different application rate, you could have a separate price in one round and a different production rate and a cost net before net profit. So those are some of the main things you want to do. And we've also labeled the start and end date of these applications right here as well. Last thing to look at is once you're in here, under this little printer icon, when you click it, we can show package total only. So just the total of all the rounds, just the rounds only, or the rounds and the total of the package. This can be done under gear icon up in the right-hand corner, estimate settings. So whatever you want, you can default it to show that way each and every time, so you never have to hit this. But if you need to override it for a particular bid or contract, this is where you manually set that up. So next step here is to hit save, obviously. We're going to scroll up, email it out. This is a pre-templated email that should load each and every time. You can customize it. And we've got a clickable quote link. So what we're going to do here is hit send. And I will go over to my email on the other screen here and show you what this looks like. Here. Now, I've made around the under marketing sales campaigns that we can use these for renewal and prepayment payments as well. But the specific question is how to get a contract or an estimate around New York State law. But some of the features and functions I'm showing you the system will apply to anywhere in the United States, Canada. We've got clients in England and Australia. It's simple growth as well. So it pretty much applies anywhere across the world. So next thing we're going to do is I'm going to hop into my email, load this up, and swing this over. Now we've got the email we've just sent here 0 minutes ago. I'm the future consumer or someone getting in to renew their contract, and hit click. Should load in as advertised. Step 1, select the service you want. Step 2, sign. This is automatically pre-checked under the gear icon estimate settings. You can have that pre-checked or non-pre-selected. So if you've got a 5-step and a 4-step fertilization application, you can do that. You can also customize the way it looks with grid lines. So a lot of times, best practice down here, you could have the subtotal of the whole entire package. We probably recommend not doing that. That sticker shock usually drives them to price shop. So this is approximately, in a very boilerplate way, how we did this in my company Callahan's to drive that process home and have a better return on sales. Upper corner here, we've got the certified applicator license number. We've got the rounds with the projected rates, the products with EPA numbers. As we scroll down, invoicing details, contract terms, services, products, service call details, continuing service, the guarantee, products used, pre-notification payment terms, the link here that's acknowledging that this is where the products were. And when they click the product MSD labels, we go in and opens up the website. It lists all the products we could be using. And when you click on it, it will actually open up the product label. So this is big because it needs to be visible, readable, and when the state audits you, they're going to look at these links. But I will tell you, at least in my experience, if you get an audit and you show them everything you've gotten here, they will be blown away. And I will tell you that, at least in my experience, when they go in to do that audit, they're not as intense. They're very lenient because you've done your homework and you're trying to play by the rules. So idea here is, once it's in here, the client is going to go to the bottom, click sign my estimate, sign electronically, which is important because this needs to be on there, and we're printing our name. Based on selections here, this is a total of all the services. This is something I'd actually recommend pulling off. And this can also be removed under the gear icon estimate settings, because once again, there's less of a sticker shock. So I would probably remove that as well. But now I accept the proposal. Automated email comes back to me as the new consumer or existing consumer, acknowledging that they've accepted the estimate, and we're going to be getting them on the schedule shortly. My phone just dinged next to me. So that that estimate now is there. And my phone may be ahead of my email, but I did just get one, so that'll be there, and I can show you in a minute. But the idea is, when you go back now to the client, this is the final and actually probably one of the most important steps of it if you get audited. So we'd go in, and the open estimates are down here, closed estimates are up in the header. So here's the estimate that we've sent just right now that I've accepted online. In the upper right-hand corner, I've got time and date stamped IP address for the signature information. Amazing for state law, as well as under attachments here, I've got a printable PDF. And when I scroll down, it lists all the services, all the information that's required, including the applicator's name. And at the bottom, when I zoom in here, you have an electronic signature with MSD labels. The MSD labels are not visible, but you've got the link here that they are associated with. And when they check that link, everything is there. When we went through that audit, that hit all the check boxes along the way. So comments or questions drop below. This could apply to any state. The specific question was, how do I do this in New York State to meet the very strict DEC laws? So Callahan's Corner coming at you daily. You ask the questions. I answer them live on Facebook. Look forward to hear your live or questions right now, or questions on the recorded version. We'll see you again tomorrow, Callahan's Corner. Same place. Probably a different time, midday tomorrow.